Peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for tuning in to the El Cabanon Union Alliance program on this evening. The topic of discussion tonight is good fatherhood. On tonight, we have our good brother Ron C. Osborne Williams in the building on this evening. How you doing, King?
Okay, good up, brother. How you feeling? Everything good?
Yes, all is well. All is well, man. Our brother is the manager of the Fatherhood mentorship program here in South Florida. And this is the brother family. If those of you who don't know, this is the gentleman that actually invited me to come out for the speaking engagement that I had to be able to speak to those beautiful souls that graduated on that evening, those empowered fathers. I had an opportunity to interface with those gentlemen, and these brothers did an outstanding job, man. So I want to start by saying that, man, you know, you and your staff did a superb job with those gentlemen, man. You're welcome, brother. We truly enjoyed ourselves that evening, man. The food was good. Now, you know, I was all right. You know, you got to feed them, man.
That's the benefit for the program most of the time. The food, and listen, if we don't have that food, we might not have a program, brother. They need that food.
I'm trying to tell you, even story goes with Jesus, right? He said, feed them, because if you don't, they'll faint on that journey.
Right.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, family, at this time, if you'll be so kind to share and invite, that'd be great. We're going to do the same thing at this time. Again, sharing is caring is not a cliche. We definitely do believe that there's some brothers and some sisters that need to hear this message on this evening. I promise you, it's going to be empowering. It's going to be encouraging. And as you all know, this is a rare occasion, all right, where we see men come together in the spirit of love and encouragement, you know, in unity, you know, and also a mind to empower, not to devour, you know, to build up, not to tear down, you know. So definitely click on that share and invite link there. Invite everybody to come on in. We thank you so much again for tuning in. Peace and blessings. All right, all right, all right, family. So we all know, as I aforesaid, the need for fathers within the community, good fathers within the community, not just fathers. We need good fathers, not just mentors and teachers and just having a man present. That's not enough. You know, we really need men of character, because a man could be present, his physical presence, but his mind is not there. So it's just like the man is absent. As I have shared before with some of you, and some of you who are new and you're not familiar with who I am, okay, I'm originally from Rochester, New York. I was born and raised there. And unfortunately, I'm a former drug dealer and gangster. I'm not proud of that, but what I am proud of is the fact that I had heard some information from a gentleman that believed in me, even while I was in the midst of the mess of my life. He spoke words that empowered me, that transformed my mind, that challenged me to transform. And by him not seeing me in my present state and him seeing me in my future, he spoke me into my future. He spoke me into my destiny. He didn't play any games with me now, but he gave me that, I like to call it the TLC. And for my definition, either you give somebody the tender love and care, or you give them the tough love and care, right? And so for myself, he gave me at that moment what I needed, because I was in the back of the cop's car at the time that I was getting this message as he was transporting me to the county jail. And you understand, I had no place to go. I had nowhere to go but to listen.
But that's a lot of times we find that's the only way we get the message. That's the only time we can get the message. We would love to say, and I think a lot of my experience working, even with some of our fathers, man, that we work with, it becomes very hard because we have already been socially constructed to an idea how we should be and what should happen and what it means to be man. And sometimes one of those problems of being man, we forget that man stands alone. He doesn't want to do anything for anybody else. He is selfish. He doesn't think about the results of or the consequences of what he do and how it affects others. But when we talk about becoming a father, you change the whole dynamic of that man's thinking, because he can't just stand and think about himself. He has to think about, most of the time, in many relationships, he has to think about his partner. And then without thinking about his partner, he has to think about his offspring and what he does and how they follow. Because we learn from the models that we have. Learned behavior is probably one of the most important things that we discuss. I don't know if I'm going too fast, but anyway, let me just say this. The day I was watching the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan at Savior Week, Savior Day, and he said a profound thing about he didn't really know who his father was. But he talked about how these different men who came into his life, who became his father, who led him to become a father. That's strong, and people can survive by that. But what I want us to really think about it and put in play is that our children, and any of us know who have experienced this, been involved with our biological parents, we need them to show us who we are. And if they don't show us who we are, we're looking to be somebody that's not real, or not for us, or not really explaining who we are. So that's one of the big factors, and one of the things we really focus on in our program over here with our with our fathers and dads. So
I like that, man, because we definitely need to focus on the mindset, because we know that really that's what it is, man. It's a mindset that's leading these men to lead a mischievous lifestyle because of the miseducation. And I believe the miseducation also leads to them having a life of chaos and misconduct, you know, because as you know, they're left to being raised by the TV. Or unfortunately, some brothers, because their father being absent, they're left victim to the gangsters and the pimps, you know, or either they have men in their life that are not a good example. And that's why earlier I had to put emphasis on being a good father, because so many people, they say, well, you know, a man, they need a man in their life. No, they need a good man in their life. Not just a man, they need a man that's in his right mind, because him being in his right mind, he'll be on the right track. He'll teach them the right information, which once they apply it, that it will give them a right mind, a sound mind, and put them on the right track, which will lead them into the right destination.
well,
You know,
well, that pinpoints off one of the first, you know, in our program, that, you know, in our program, we go through a curriculum, and we do a curriculum called 24/7 Dad. And in that curriculum, one of the first things that we talk to our fathers about is self-awareness. And that's probably one of the most biggest factors, that for anybody to understand, self-awareness of who they are and what does that mean to be who they are. And let me give you an example of that. This is not at any point a dig, because I was raised by my mother. You know, I was raised, but also I was raised by my mother, knowing who my father completely was. So he was absent, but not unknown. So, and that limited his engagement, because our program is about engagement. Sometimes we have a lot in our society right now, and this is why it's important for these men to go out and be engaged with their children, spend time with their children, because sometimes these kids are raised in houses with their mother. They get everything they need. They get care, they get love, they get parenting. But one of the things they don't get is they don't get awareness of who they is, and they don't get fathering. And that's a big difference. I think what you was applying to is having a man in the house and having some man around is very different than having a man who's doing fathering, who's someone who is fathering a child. And what we seem to not realize or understand is that fathering is a very special skill that only fathers have. You know, I listened to I think about the minister said that his mother was hard. His mother was mom and dad. But I think that's sometimes one of our failures in with, especially with our boys, is that we go through this thing of saying, I can raise this boy and this boy, but it's very hard to raise a boy to become a man, and as well as to be a father when you're not that. I don't think that, you know, and people say, well, what does that mean? How you're saying that a mother can't raise the child? No, the mothers can raise children quite well. I think they do excellent jobs. Look at myself. I was raised quite well. But I think it's a part in this whole development stage for the young person, for the young child, not just boys, but also females, to have a father who does fathering with them. That is very, very important, and it helps them begin to understand what I normally work with the fathers in our first part is that self-awareness of who they are and what it means to who they are, to be who they are. Because if that doesn't happen, they start to take on all of these social constructions of who and what it means to be. And that's what we see a lot of the social ills in our young people today, is that absentness. And if we don't, and so that means that, really one of the things that means that the fathers have to step up. And that stepping up really comes with one of the other skills that we work with in our program. And one of the skills is probably the last one that we deal with is relationship skills. Because we know that in our community, even, and I'm referencing a lot of stuff by the minister, because I was just listening to his conversation today. A lot of us in our community, a lot of times have our children before we have a union with somebody else. And sometimes what we do find out is that maybe our attraction to that person is not equal to our long-term commitment to being with that person. But that child is already here. And now we don't get along with our partner or the person that we are involved with. So we want to separate ourselves from them, or not deal with them, or focus on the things that was negative in these relationships that we have with them. That's problematic, because if you have a child, that child needs to know that both you and the other parent loves them, involved with them, want to be engaged with them. And it's a very hard thing for kids to not just kids that are in both parent homes or single parent homes or even foster care, but they need to know that there's a parent that loves them, that wants them, and wants to be with them.
You good, my brother.
Oh, okay. Also, what another thing that we kind of talk about is we have a lot of thinking about things we talk about with these fathers is talking about caring for yourself. And when we talk about caring for yourself is, how could you expect to raise a child? How can you expect a child to be anything, to do anything, if you're not taking care of yourself? I think that I was speaking to, I think about the experience when I was speaking to one of my mentors, and he was saying that he had told his son that he shouldn't smoke cigarettes. Don't smoke cigarettes, don't do it. It's not good for you. And every 5 minutes he was going outside smoking a cigarette. And not only did that tell his son that, hey, smoking a cigarette is something that I'm going to do and that I should do, what also it tells you is that, you're not taking the precautions for the long life that you need to live. The illnesses that you're going to bring upon yourself, because a lot of us need to try to be here to take care of our children as long as possible. So we have to take care of ourselves. That's one of the major factors we have to do, and take care of ourselves. Another one of the topics that we really deal with when working with our dads and our fathers is the difference between fathering skills and parenting skills. And that's one that is probably very difficult for people to understand, because most people say, well, parenting is just parenting. But it's easy to understand if you say, hey, what's the difference between being a parent and being a mom? If you ask that question, people immediately respond and got an idea. There's a difference between being a parent and being a mom. So I bring that back to them and say, so then what's the difference between being a parent and being a father? One of the downsides to this is that we don't have sometimes enough examples in our community that represents our type of fathering, because we want to follow a TV format for fathering. Sometimes if we look closely, a large majority of our fathers in our communities are fathers that are not in the home, but that doesn't mean that they're not fathers. That doesn't mean that they're not engaged. It does not mean that they don't love their children. It means that in the situation that they are in, they have determined to have a relationship that is separate but equal, where they provide for their child. They try to work and be with their child, because a lot of people would say that these men don't love their children, or they don't want to be involved with their children.
Yeah, but let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that one.
That's one of the biggest farce that's out there, because when I've said in court, and when I sit in court, in child support court, custody court, if the people don't care, why would they be there? But what happens is they ain't worked on their relationship skills. That's where the problem is. They need to be, there's a respect that you got to understand, that a lot of times, especially here in South Florida, that if you are not the married husband of your partner with your children, you have no rights. Let me say it again. If you are not married to the mother of your children, you have no rights.
Wow, that's crazy.
You have to be married to the mother to have rights for the children. You are not the custodial parent. Only way that would happen, and most of us think that, I can sign the birth certificate and that make me the father, that make me the dad. It does not.
Let's deal with how the system emasculates us. Emasculates a man. You know what I'm saying?
It's no better seen than in the court system. That I see this most, and most of the dads we work with, is this idea of, let's take an example. You have a mother who happened to do something. She's taking care of the kids custodial. The dad is not taking care of the kids custodial, but he's involved. He's paying child support, he's doing all this thing, and the mother gets a DHS case. Those people are more willing and more ready. The court is ready to give those kids to a foster parent than to give them to the other biological father. And I can't understand, and I'm still at this point trying to understand why. They won't even search. A lot of times we see kids sometimes about to lose parent custody of their, that they're about to be termination, their parent rights terminated. And you sit there and say, well, where's the father? Did anybody reach out? Oh, we didn't reach out to him because, we just dealing with the mother. And they're ready to send this kid to some foster person somewhere else for somebody else to take care of. And no stretch of seeing if this father is ready to take care of their children. And most of the time, if these fathers knew, they would get their kids and take care of them. We have numerous counts of dads, men who, and this is what happens. If no responsibility is put on you, you don't take no initiative. And that's one of the things that's problematic. If we just continue to let everything go to the side, when is he going to be able to step up and say, let me be a man and take care of my children? Let me be the person to do these things. The system does as much as possible to allow these people to not have to take accountability. Matter of fact, not only they do that not to take accountability, what they also do is they set barriers so you can't have your accountability. So not only that you want to get what's rightfully yours to take care of, and they'll say, well, you can't do this because of this, that, and the other. And matter of fact, you need to jump through this hoop, that fiery hoop. You need to jump over this lake of fire. Then you need to climb this building if you're going to get your own child. And how many people have that fortitude a lot of times? And it's almost so much to say, now I'm paying the money for the child, but I can't get any access.
We have a good question out there in the audience by Brandy Benjamin. And the question is, how is it that a father wouldn't know that his children are in the care of the system?
There's multiple ways. Listen, some of them do find out their kids are in the system, because they overhear that the case is going on. Some of them are just missing. Some of them don't even know. I know many cases of dads that we are working with right now that are trying to find their children. You know, they're trying to look for their children. But, you know, the system says that you're on a birth certificate. And if the mother decides that she don't need him to help raise this child. But a lot of time, this is another part I try to say to our sisters when I work with them, is that children need both parents. Even if they're not together, they still need both parents.
We have some more statements out there. Queen Jeanette Nelly said, system too lazy to do work, less paperwork.
That's exactly.
It's easy to displace the kids. We have Brother King Andrew Adams out in the building. He says lack of communication.
But let me tell you something I researched recently. I've been sitting in child support court looking at this whole child support thing and thinking about, hey, I wonder what goes on in other countries to determine your fatherhood, or if you're a father, what makes you a father. And when I was doing some of my investigation, I realized that, you know, the United States of America is one of the few countries that have child support. And if you're going to, and the way they relate to you being involved with your child is through capitalism. So if you pay for your child, that means that you're involved. I know of one state in Nebraska, they have the 50-50 100. So both parents have to come and bring to the table, or neither parent can have the child. Now that's a little extreme, but it puts them to have to work together. So I look at that and say, well, what happens in other countries? You don't have fathers having to prove that they are their child's parent. They don't have to pay money to be their child's parent. They just take on the role of being the child. But that's because when we think about the justice system is about finance. And so if you put the welfare of a child into the justice system, is going to come about finance, not about love, not about care, not about well-being. It's about who's going to pay money for this child. And
you know what? Let's pause there for a minute, man. Let's talk about that, because I want to deal with that as it relates to being a parent, because a lot of us think that, brothers, we think, because we're talking about fatherhood here, good fatherhood. So a lot of us do need to understand that it's more to being a father than teaching their son a play on the football field. You know, we need to teach them the game of life. We need to teach them to win the game of life and be victorious and be the champion, you know, defeating, you know, the system. You know what I mean? And so many of us, we know the stats, you know, but we don't even know our children's, you know, report cards, man. You know, we could tell you everything about this sports player, but we can't even, you know, tell our fellow brother or sister, you know, what the grades are, you know, when is report card time? You know what I'm saying? What do our son or daughter like? What are their dislikes? What's their favorite ice cream, you know, etc. You know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, and you heard me say this before, you know, we provide a dog a house. We'll make sure the dog get its shots. You know what I'm saying? And in fact, even some dogs I see with clothes on.
Booties.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got on their favorite sports team jersey. You understand, you know, but you know, they won't even feed and clothe and ensure that their child has the proper food and their shots. And of course, we got to be careful with these vaccines out here today. We definitely got to watch that. So I'm definitely not encouraging that. Family, beware of that. But it's sad that we don't invest in our child and our children as much as we invest in recess. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I had a radical idea, and the idea that is not a bad idea, but it happens. Most systems and most of these brothers out here who are so lazy and who just want to throw money at something, that's what the child support get the way it is. They throw money at it, and the court say, okay, good, you're doing what you need to do, even if they don't ever see the child. So the court doesn't really care about the well-being of the child development. They're concerned is the child financial ability, and that financial ability is based on they don't want the mother to come and get the money from the state or from the city, so they want you to pay the money. And what I'm looking at a lot of times is to try to tell these brothers is, if you know the rule in Florida, once you get a parenting plan set up with your partner or with your child's mother, your child, you can at that point start initiating, bring your child support payments down. Because in the court, this is when I did this part. If you're gonna do court right way, you're gonna go to court and let know what you're going there to do. If the more time you spend with the child, the more time the child spend with you, the less money you're paying to them. I've seen many times, and I give you a perfect example. I thought about Dwayne Wade. I remember when Dwayne Wade first was leaving his children's mother, his ex-wife. And the people were saying, well, why would Dwayne Wade take the children and raise them and do those things? Because what Dwayne Wade might have found out was it's far cheaper. It's more parenting you have to do, but it's far cheaper to be in a home with your child and take care of them than to send your money to somebody else to take care of them. And I say that to say, the system. I am sometimes very angry at the system because I see them talk about finance and poverty and what have you, and how much they care about when these kids are not in the middle of two parents. But how many people care about those two parents are together who are poor trying to raise their children? They don't bring up that they need to live at a certain standard. They don't say this needs to happen. When you got a father who is in the home, who's struggling every day with his queen, and they're doing everything they can to live in this world, and they doing what they can to take care of their children. There's no one caring what the standard of the kid is living at that time. They don't care how the whole family living. But when it comes to a time of two separation, and you have this child as a tool, is a value, a financial value placed on how this kid should be getting this at this level. And sometimes that really it hurts my heart, because I say, look at people out here trying to live and struggle, like the James Evans in Florida Evans of the world, struggling, living in their home, trying to work day to day. No one cares about what their kids are going through, what level of finance their kids are living at. But when you get into the system, all bets are out the window. You would be best to be a father to your children and try to work on the relationship with the mother of that child, and try to come to your own compromise of what needs to happen between you two for the benefit of your children, than to let the system be involved. Because once the system involved, they don't do anything but to tear you up more, because they're going to make money off of it. They're going to be the financial gain off of your pain.
Wow, absolutely, man. That is powerful. We have a lot going on out here. We have Jeanette saying, that the system really doesn't care. We have a lot of the queens out there talking about that. I definitely want to say this, man. It takes good training. And I had a grandfather that set the example for me. My grandfather taught me chivalry. Okay, I had a grandfather that transitioned, and he was married to my grandmother for approximately almost 60 years. You know, my grandfather taught me to pull out the chair, to open up the door, how to speak to a woman, how to treat a woman, not just to get into her panties. It wasn't about that. It was about stroking that woman's, you know, heart, you know what I'm saying? Not stroking her sexually.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That's last. And I would be honest with you, man. I believe that a lot of us have been programmed the wrong way. You know, we've been programmed to call our women female dogs. We've been programmed for us to put them on our videos, for them to twerk. Okay. We've been programmed for us to have them on pictures with their butt facing towards the cameras and bending over and halfway naked. And you know, we have to take some sense of ownership to what we have allowed to happen.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
there was a fight. There was a fight against, you know, I love Brother Luke, but you know, Brother Luke was off the chain. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And Brother Luke was off the chain, man. You know, so there was a fight against that type of toxicity, you know, intoxicating our younger generation. But mind you, now we have to keep this in mind. Let the truth be told that the Caucasians only got involved because their children started doing it. Let's just keep it real. All right. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that we have to fight against the immoral dissemination of the degradation of our women. You know what I'm saying? Because the truth of the matter is, man, one queen out there, she stated that we have to stop living our lives vicariously through our children. And let's just keep it real. You know how you have those dads, they didn't make it to the NBA. They didn't make it to, you know, to college or the NFL, you know. They didn't make it. So, you know, they try to live their life through their son. You know what I'm saying? Oh, forget his grade. As long as you're good on the football field, you know what I'm saying? Okay, you know, we're supporting him. You know, he have all these girls' numbers, but he don't know his mathematics though. He have all these digits, but he can't even add and subtract properly.
Right.
And you know, we praise, and let the truth be told, man. We praise, you know, craving our sexual desires because, you know, it's peer pressure. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, yo, did you hit that? You know, did you have sex with her, man? We have made being respectful a demise. You know what I'm saying? As far as respecting our woman. We have made that to be something that is considered to be weak. And the problem is, man, that love is absent. The very thing that brings strength to a family is what we're rejecting. And a lot of brothers don't understand this. And I'm not beating them up because this is why we have to go back. We have to go back to our culture, what we have been cut off from. You know what I'm saying? Because
brother, it's hard. That's a hard thing to do. It's hard to love when we don't love ourselves.
Exactly.
And so one of the issues is we have two people getting in relationships who want love, but they don't really love themselves yet. And then they have this child. And this is the thing they should be loving. They should be loving the child. They should try to work things out through the child, but they're not. And because of that, this is why the programs like the one I have is put together to put these men and change their mind from just being men into being fathers. And on a weekly basis, as they say, iron sharpens iron, put the mindset of men who have faced all the things as fathers would have faced and together in this room so we can talk about how that if you didn't have that grandfather like you had to teach you this, teach you that, we're here now as a group of men who are fathers just like you to begin to work and establish how you need to become a father, a better father, and through becoming a better father, being a better man.
You know, I hear one brother said, Brother Eric Cope, he said, I'm a father to my child and I get her every week she don't have to want for nothing. Salute, King. But her mom put me on a child support because she don't want to have to ask me for money. Now, how ridiculous does that sound? Well, I understand, that is, an issue too, that it's true. Some women do stand in the way, and we're not going to negate that fact that there's some women that unfortunately are so selfish that they will stand between the father, you know what I'm saying, and the child or children in some cases. However, for the most part, I have to keep it real because see, my father abandoned me and my siblings. Okay. He didn't stand up and take care of none of us. And my grandfather, now the one who I was talking about, my grandfather, Alton D. Walden Sr., took care of all of them. In fact, my father was raised in a house with both parents. Okay. So let's be clear. You know what I'm saying? Let's be clear. Slavery didn't lead him to neglect his responsibility. Let's be clear on that. Because slavery is not the root of everything. Some things, but not the root of a man having sex, knowing what the outcome of sex is, and then he runs from his responsibility. I'm tired of hearing about, slavery. Okay, listen, again, slavery pertains to some things, but in this case, it's about manning up. That's what this is about. Just like I did, I knew that I made my son. I knew he couldn't feed and clothe himself. You understand? My father wasn't there for me either. Now, mind you, my father was absent, told me at the age of 5, he didn't want to see me no more. So because of the pain that I felt, I didn't take care of my son because of that pain I felt, right? You know what I'm saying? I just knew that it was even the more important for me to be in my son's life because I understood what the problem is in a lot of my friends' life as well, due to not having a good father in their life. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of us, we should not be like, well, my dad wasn't there for me, so I wasn't there for my son, because and I know this may be tough love right now, but bro, that's not cutting.
Well, you know what else ain't cutting it? You know what else? Here's another thing that pins point right on what you're saying. Listen, okay. We boast to be men, right? You boast to be a man. You boast to so step up and be the man. If the situation is hard between you and your child's mother, I want you to use the same energy you had when you was trying to make that child. You use that energy, that same energy that you had when you was trying to get to where that child came about. I want you to use that same energy to work on negotiating, compromising, and because listen, I've seen many of us brothers, if we want a woman, we go hard. And once you have that child with that woman, you should go equally hard to make sure that child is okay and have everything is need. And so sometimes that means that you have to bite a bullet with somebody that you may not no longer want to go hard with. But that's the part of being a man. That's a part of being a real father. You will have to come to a realization that, listen, this child didn't make themselves. They didn't ask to come here. So now I need to step up. And guess what? When you the man, take your role and responsibility like you should. And this not being hard, because listen, I know on the other end, the same thing need to happen for the sisters on the other end. They need to step up too and recognize that this child didn't ask to come. And you need to compromise and do whatever you can to ensure that your child has the best love from both of their parents and can be taught the things so they can go into this world and become something. Because a lot of times our children don't become something because we don't give them what they need, because we're still stuck in ourselves and our selfishness and our hurt and our pain. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna be everything else but thinking about what your child needs. And your child needs their parents. They need a mother, they need a father, and they need parents. So they need mothering, they need fathering, and they need parenting. And that's what our program really do over here. We telling the brothers who are fathers that they need to be two things. They need to learn how to do fathering, and they need to learn how to do parenting. And when they learn to do those two things, at some point, if you're doing enough, it's human nature. It's human nature. A person can only be mad with you so long if you're treating them kind. Now, that seems like I got to bend my back too much, but we got the nature to do it because we bend our back for other things in this society. So we can do it. We can do it for our children, at least. We do it for money. So why we can't do it for our seed?
You're on point, my brother. We're going to entertain the question real quick from my queen, Amari. She asks, has the laws helped to slow down the brothers from having a bunch of children without an intent to stay with the woman?
No. Why would they? Listen, what investment are they going to get out of that at any point? They're not getting any investment out of it. And the sad part is, and our disposition, our people, we're having children with multiple women. We're having children with multiple women most of the time. And because of that, the courts look at it as, well, let's make sure we get all the money from, because listen, I want you to look at this. If you have 4 kids with 3 different mothers, and you're not with any of them, you now with a whole nother girl who ain't got no baby yet. These mothers, if you don't give them the money, if you don't give them any money, they go down and get WIC, they go down and get food stamps, they go down and get health care. And when they get all those things, they're going to ask the mothers, well, who's the man who owns these children? Who's the man who made these children? So if the mother wants you to be involved, because this is one of the stipulations, if she wants you to become the father, then she'll say, well, this person is the father. They'll send down for you to take the paternity test. Paternity test come back right, you're the father. At that point, they start your bill for everything. And they'll get, listen, this is, I'm trying to tell black men, you will not get out of poverty if you do not take care of your children. Let me say this to you again. You will not get out of poverty if you do not take care of your children. Because the second that the woman needs this child to take care of and the things they need, they taxing a bill on you every day. You would do better to go to these mothers and say, listen, I know we have our difficulties, but what I'm going to do is ensure that you get real financial money from me to you. Let's don't go between this. We don't need any go between, because the go between leave you when you're 55 and you got $75,000 in arrear of child support. And your kids are grown, and guess what? If you did have some involvement with them, they help and take care of you now. I've seen it many times in court. The man arrears $75,000. He ain't got no money. He ain't really can't work. He ain't got nothing. And his grown kids now are the people helping take care of him. That's not a place to be in. That's not a place. So
definitely not. So we
realize, if you want to have economic sustainability, you have to take care of your children on your own. Don't let somebody else do it.
Absolutely. Queen Valerie Brown said, children should be the priority, not our feelings. Queen Jeanette Nelly said, the love for your child should override any hurt and pain. I definitely agree with that, man, because
both of them, both of those statements.
Yeah, definitely, man, because, my son, mother, and I, we didn't get along, you know what I'm saying? But I never dragged our relationship into my responsibility with taking care of my son. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times, a lot of brothers, they will break camp and they will try to use that situation as an scapegoat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To relieve themselves of their responsibility. And a lot of times parents don't understand too. The court of law may have given you the right to give away your parental rights, but not the creator.
Right.
The creator gave you that responsibility as a mother and a father. So we need to stop giving our children over even to the school system. We leave it up to the school system, which doesn't have our children's or any of our best interests at heart, who are African. Okay.
But
you know what I'm saying? We
just like everything else.
Yeah, we put that on the teachers, man.
Like
you know what I'm
saying? The school system, the court system, all the systems, they offer one thing: finance. The school system demands that you come to school a certain number of days. You know why they want to demand that you come to school a certain number of days? Because if you don't come to school, if your child don't come to school a certain number of days, they can't get the money from the federal government to continue to operate. So it's all about money. What happened to the education? What happened to the part of, I want your kid to be to school so they can be the best person they can be, so they can have knowledge? No, it's about, I need them to come to school every day. I don't care what happens when they're here, but I need them here 364 days so we can get our check to pay our bills. Everything about money, brother. And I'm trying to tell, what I'm telling our fathers and our fathers, if you want to keep your money, if you want, because you live in this capitalist society, and I know that you are interested in trying to become a capitalist, but you will never become it when you're letting the system take care of your responsibilities. You will not. You cannot.
Man, I like that, brother, because it's like what the Queen said earlier, how, parents live their lives vicariously through the child. And I'm saying this because of the gangster rap industry. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Biggie Small's mother. But she kept defending her son when her son did a song called The 10 Cracks Commandments, teaching our young men and women alike how to be successful drug dealers. But she wanted, my son was a good son, and no, he was good because you made all that money off of him.
What was the word you said? What was the word you said?
Money.
What? Listen, you will find as you continue to deal with me, brother, I believe this is the truth. The root of most of the evils that affect us in our community has to do with money. And not that we get money, but the love to realize that in this country, we weren't considered the people to get money. We was the ones to make the money for other people. So in our mind, we have to get out of that mentality. We want to collect money. We want to have money. This money thing is crazy. But if we begin to focus ourselves towards working for ourselves, with ourselves, our money will come to us. But we can't. We have that. We still got that hump we got to get over. And this right. This fatherhood thing is a perfect example. It's odd that it came to, we talking about money and how finance became an issue, but it does become an issue because you clearly see that those dads, and I use these dads because I know a lot of them, the poor dads who are out here with their mother, their child. Matter of fact, sometimes they be with that mother and they still taking care of the other child as much as they can, and that mother helping. They're taking care of their children. They're taking care of the things they need to take care of. Nobody care about them, but their kids come out with so much love. Their kids do, most of the time in the next generation, their kids are the major achievers in our society.
No, I tell you what, man, we talked about money and that's another problem, man. a lot of us are immature. We may be adults in age, you know what I'm saying, but we're not adults in our mentality, you know. And that's another problem too, because you have children, you know, somebody with an adolescent mind trying to raise, you know, children. You know what I mean? And that's a big problem. And so we're talking about money, right? So you got on like $200 or $300 pair of sneakers, but you don't have no money set aside for your children's college fund. You know what I'm saying? You got.
How about just lunch? How about they daily lunch at school? How about that? How about you have no money for them to give them daily lunch? Yes, you have on those shoes, you have all this, and the government or the food program is paying for the food that your child eats. That's the problem. Be a man, be a father, take care of your child.
You know, and that's it right there, man. You know, I have to give that tough love on that, because as I aforementioned, I never used an excuse of my father being absent for me to be absent. That encouraged me to be there even more for my son, right? And I do it out of love, like what you said before, man. You know, it's because my grandmother loved on me, my grandfather loved on me. And so parents, I encourage you, both mom and dad, seek out some psychological counseling, because a lot of us, we have mental issues, we're unstable. So how can you raise a family being mentally unstable? You can't raise a stable child or stable children when you yourself are not even mentally stable, you know? And so this is no shot thrown at you. This is just me telling you in love that we as a people, we have to heal. You know what I'm saying? We have to be healed in order for us to be able to be well and to raise our child well. We must be well, you know? So we got to start getting to the root of things. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, man, you know, we have to get rid of this thuggish mindset. You know what I'm saying? This whorish mindset, you know, that's been instilled in us through the lyrical content, you know what I'm saying, and the imagery that we see on the TV, man. You have a lot of parents, you know what I'm saying, that act just like their children, man. They're watching this stuff with their children, and then we wonder why our lives are chaotic. Is because we're welcoming chaos in our life, because we're allowing our children to listen to women like Cardi B. You know what I'm saying? We're allowing our children, you know, our sons, to listen to these gangster rappers, walk around with their pants sagging. Then you wonder why your child is unruly. You know what I'm saying? It's because you're allowing them to listen to these things that's getting into their mind and shaping their way of thinking and causing them to be rebellious.
And what should be, and I say to you, what should be shaping and causing the most influential thing for your child is you. But if you're not there, everything else will influence them. Because I can tell you right now, if your son comes in your house with his pants hanging down, and that's not what you want, and you tell him to not do it, and you show him that this is why you got a belt on, and this is how the belt goes, and this is why we're going to walk around, here we're going. That's the time that you spend with your child. Your child would then feel comfortable. He will feel a pride of when other people say, well, look, we got our pants like this. Why you don't wear them like that? Because that ain't how my daddy wear his pants. And that's a powerful statement that sometimes we don't have, because if you don't raise your child, the pack will.
That is the truth, man. And that's why we say we got to work on ourselves, you know, know thyself, you know for yourself. We got to stop leaving it up to, as we talked about earlier, I wanted to expound a little more, because we leave our children up to the teacher. First of all, the teacher is not the child's parent. You know what I'm saying? When the child gets to school, they should have already been parented. When they get there, they should just be there in a state of mind to learn. Now, a lot of us complain about, oh, our children are not being taught their history in school. First of all, let's understand this real quick, because a lot of us don't understand what our role is as a parent. It is not the teacher's job to teach your children their traditions. That is your responsibility. It is not the teacher's job, I'm gonna say it again, to teach your child or your children their culture. It's your responsibility. And why would you trust in a racist system that was never constructed to free our minds? Why would you do that? You know what you learned in school. You learned about George Washington, who owned slaves. All those presidents that we learned about in school and all of these war heroes, none of them look like us. So why would you leave it up to the school system to educate your child? It's not mathematics that's misguiding them. It's not mathematics. Okay, it is not. You understand? It's not mathematics that make them hate themselves or look down on themselves. It's, when I went to school, it was called social studies. It was called history class. Okay, it's in there where they show us that we were slaves. They play the roots for Black History Month. Yeah, that's what they do. They always start out with a slave movie. So my question to you is then, why would you leave them open to them being victimized by a system that you know doesn't have their best interests at heart? You as the parent should find out what that curriculum is at the school. You have a right to know as a parent. You should find out what that curriculum is.
Yes, sir. It's funny that you say that, because in Savior Day, the minister mentioned an incident that him and Malcolm X had a conversation, and it was about their schooling. And he said that when he had spoke to his teacher, he told his teacher that he wanted to be, he wanted to be a doctor. And the teacher told him, oh, you know what? You can't be a doctor because no whites will come and get doctoring from you, and your own people won't trust you to be a doctor. And then as he told that story, she told him that he should just stick with playing the violin, because he was good at that. That's what he needs to do. And then he told how Malcolm said to him the same identical message was said to him. When the teacher asked Malcolm, what did you want to be when you grow up? Malcolm said he wanted to be a lawyer. And he said that the teacher told him that, well, the identical thing. Well, you couldn't be a lawyer because, no white person would let you they wouldn't hire you to be a lawyer, and your own people wouldn't have faith that you could do the job to be the lawyer. You maybe should just be a carpenter. And when you was just saying what you were saying, reinstill exactly that idea, because that's what happens a lot. If our kids, if we have no involvement in telling our kids, when our kids tell us what they want to be, and we tell them that they can be that, when they go to the schoolhouse and the teacher who we have gave all the power to tell them what they can and cannot be, tell them that they can't be something and tell them what they should be, that's what they're going to become. Because you have given your power, again, as you said, of raising who your children should be, what their destiny should be, and how they should be, over to somebody else who may not have their best interest in mind.
And so this is the reason why, too, as parents, we got to get financially savvy, because, a lot of us, we live in a house and we get ready to close, family, and we don't even pass that information down to our children, because we don't know. We don't even know the value of a house. We just see a house as somewhere just to live. We don't see it as, a bank. You know what I'm saying? We don't understand equity. We don't understand if you keep a house for a certain period of time.
Say what?
It builds equity in the house.
Tell them.
And now you can build cash. You know what I'm saying? and we live in houses. And this is the reason why, as parents, we have to wake up. And also, your Louis Vuitton isn't going to do them any good. That Louis Vuitton may be worth only $1,000, $2,000. They may sell it. You know what I'm saying? No, we want to leave them an inheritance. We want to leave them generational wealth. That's not generational wealth. They could go out and buy a ring for $1,000 and it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying? We gotta start gaining assets. We gotta start owning businesses. We can't pass down our children our job. What are they gonna do? Inherit our job? What you know what I'm saying? What they gonna do? You know what I'm saying? In fact, how many of you have life insurance? Why do we do all these GoFundMe?
GoFundMe. The funeral, GoFundMe.
You just went to the Keith Sweat concert. You just went to go see Beyonce and everything else like that. Okay, now let's check the record. What's in your savings now? What's in your savings now? You know what I'm saying? And then you get mad at your child when they come and ask you, and tell you, well, ask you, Mom, can I go on this trip? Dad, can I go on this trip? No, I don't got no money. You know what I'm saying? Mom, I need some shoes. Dad, I need these new sports shoes. But you just bought all this gold. You just bought, these $200-300 red bottoms and everything else like that. But you mad at the children because you being put on the spot about your irresponsible financial mismanagement. But you want to run the children away, yell them out of the house. You know what I'm saying? So, we have to be more responsible, and unfortunately, let me tell you, we can see how this system is backwards today, because now you got these millennials making all of this money, and now they're taking care of the parents, and the parents not even old yet. You're not even senior citizens yet. We should be embarrassed about that. You know what I'm saying? We got our own children that is more mature than us, and then they telling us, Ma, look, you asking your child for money. Hey, babe, can I get $20? Hey, can I get $30? You know what I'm saying? That you have no shame in that. No shame in that. You have no shame in that. You're harassing your child and your children for money. You know what I'm saying? We should be embarrassed about that, man. Like, what are we doing with our lives? You know what I'm saying? We have to level up. We have to do better. We have to do better, man. It's important that we do better. Parents die leaving their children a bunch of debt, not leaving them a blessing, leaving them a curse, generational curse in debt. Now they got to take out all these loans because, they can't afford to bury their parents or their parent. We got to get our priorities straight, man. In fact, you should be preparing your children. How many what do it take to get an academic scholarship? Most of our people are not wealthy. You understand that. I know you know this because you living in the hood. We're not wealthy. So what are you going to do to set your child up for success? They can go on athletic scholarship. They can go on academic scholarship. You know what I'm saying? But we too busy watching the stories. We too busy watching the NFL game, although they kick Kaepernick out. But hey, I'm just saying. But we still supporting that too. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? That's another story. We watching that, we watching this, and what we're doing is, man, we're consuming our lives away. We're consuming our lives away. We talk about all the spending power we have, and people boasting that, oh, we got 2.5 or 1.5 trillion spending. Okay, but where's the ownership?
And Gucci.
Yes. Where is the ownership, man? We boast about spending. I'm like, okay, we consuming so much, we being consumed. Mm-hmm. Where's the ownership at? When are we going to start? And parents, if you're watching, I hope it challenges you, and I hope you feel convicted. You should, because we got to get it together. Our children is losing because of us too, because we don't have our priorities straight. And that's all I have, King. Thank everybody for tuning in, my brother. You had the floor for your closing remarks. We thank
So,
everybody for tuning in on this evening.
What the solution to this is, my brothers and sisters, is really, if you are in this South Florida area, we have the Fatherhood program. We're starting back up on March 6th and 7th. We are at Carter Park. We're at O.B. Johnson, Hollandale Community Center. We are there from 6 to 8, both locations. On Wednesday at Carter Park, on Thursday at O.B. Johnson Hepburn Center. And women, I advertise to the women a lot. Send your man out here. It won't do nothing but make him a better man. It won't do nothing but make him. Matter of fact, don't send him. Come with him. It's not closed, so you can come with him the first couple times, just like bringing a kid to school. You can bring him a couple times, sit in the class with him, and then he gonna tell you, "Hey, let's go," because we're gonna talk this real fatherhood stuff. We also, one more thing we have an event coming up, and I'll say this to everybody again, March 30th at Carter Park. That's in, right there off of Sunrise at Carter Park with big football. Everybody know that football stadium they have right in the middle of the Assist Trunk area, Carter Park. We'll be having the 7th annual Me and My Dad Challenge. Really, it's going to be a big, large, giant kickball tournament for families. So I'm telling people, come out from 11 to 2. We're gonna have a slew of other things. We have social service agencies to give you some, and I'm glad that you brought it up, brother, to even look at maybe going to get some family counseling, because sometimes that could help you. I don't feel that people need so much psychological counseling. I think we just need family counseling, how to work out our family issues, because sometimes we're not that far gone. And if we are, the family counsel will refer you to some more psychological things. But sometimes we just need to work on how the structure of our family and the systems are working. So we're going to have people out there, vendors, to work on that. We're going to be doing pool. We're going to be having food. And all of this is free. March 30th. If you need to find out more, look out. You can check my Facebook page. I'll be having out the registration for you to register for the event. You can also check fathers, if you want to really check this, check my Facebook page, the Fatherhood Mentor Program. Look it up on Facebook, Fatherhood Mentor. And I'm probably sure I asked my brother out there, my what I call him is my communication director. I know he's on there, Brother Andrew. Put a plug on the so people can find the page that they need to go to and check it out, so they'll know what we got going on. But we really want to try to say, as many of you brothers out there who really want to get some serious talk, be around some other fathers, to work on some of the things that is related to dealing with how you can be a better and more engaged father, or even just to deal with some of your own father issues that you have with your own father. We talk about all that from 8 to 80. Cripple and crazy is what we do there, brother. It's for us, for men to get together and really address fatherhood in the best way. I want to really thank my brother for bringing me on here. It's been a long time. We've been trying to get this together, but we are here tonight. I think we gave it to. I think from what I'm seeing over here, that people was blowing the spot up.
Definitely, man.
They were blowing the spot up. So it's something I know they really are interested. I know it's a topic that, we can get nitty gritty with, but I want people to know it's all in love and respect for our children is what we're trying to do. It's not a petty thing about who wrong, who right. It's about what can we do to help our younger generation be able to take the throne of what they should be able to take in this world today. And they can't do it if us as the parents don't guide them and don't parent them the right way.
Absolutely, family. We thank you so much for tuning in. If you would be so kind to check us out during the week, we have programs. On Monday, we have Wealth Building Strategy Mondays. As we know, financial literacy is lacking within our community. My queen, Amari, and I We sponsor this event on my page every Monday. Again, we do a financial literacy class. It's called Wealth Building Strategy Mondays. It goes at 7:00 p.m. If the time should change, we always announce that. Also, we have program on Tuesday and also Thursday at the same time. Tuesday, Brother to Brother Talk, where the men get together and we talk about various topics to empower the community. Black Love Thursday, everybody get together, the men and the women. We come together and we help to empower the community. We are unapologetically passionate about empowering our people. So we would love for you to be a part of that. Even if you already have a page, I do too. We all come together as a people. Cooperative economics. We have to have unity. We have to have love. Okay. And we practice that by us actually doing that. Okay. So let's get after the meeting is adjourned, let's get to the doing. Let's get to the doing. All right. So here we all about putting in that work. So if you about putting in the work too, male or female, and you feel like you have something to bring to the table, please feel free to inbox me or get in touch with my brother Ron or my good brother Andrew. Adams, he's also a part of our organization, both of our organizations, Carolina Union Alliance, and he's a part of Synergetic Network Group, LLC. So he's also a good point of contact as well. Again, we thank you. We appreciate you. Love you. Be blessed, family.